Howdy folks, it's me, and it's weird to be making a video in this time where I still grieve and my heart is filled with sorrow, and it's so hard. But I've also learned so much about life, how joy and sorrow are intertwined, and the good and the bad, what we perceive as good and bad, are intertwined. And for those who don't know the story, on the 27th of April, we had the movers scheduled to come to take our stuff from Crystal Lake to Rhinelander, Wisconsin, about 4.5 hours away drive. The morning they showed up, there were discrepancies in a lot of things, and at the same time, my mom had been in a intensive care unit for like 2 days. They had to put a tube in her throat, and my stepfather was given the authority to make the decision as what to do. And I was there with my beautiful wife and beautiful daughter, trying to get the move settled, make sure they did everything correctly, professionally, which they didn't, but I had to be there for them. And at the same time, my stepfather had gone to the hospital in the morning and had to make the decision what to do in regards to my mom. Her organs were failing. She had a tube in her that was keeping her comfortable, as comfortable you could be with a tube down your throat. And he was faced with a very difficult decision that my mom had given to him. At the same time, I was faced with a very difficult decision that God had given to me. Do I pick up and go by my mom? Or do I stay and watch over my wife and daughter and make sure everything there runs smoothly? And then the hardest part is, even if I wanted to drive to my mom and drive back, I'm not allowed to drive in the state of Illinois. So I couldn't have gone, even if I wanted to. So I was there in, well, you could say limbo, but it felt like hell. Knowing that my mom wasn't improving, and knowing that they were going to have to take the tube out, and it most likely meant her departure from this reality. I had to stay with my wife and daughter. I had to suffer at, and as my stepfather, respect him for the decision he made, had to suffer with making that decision. I was forced with making the decision: do I go by my mom, or do I stay with my wife and daughter? And it tore me up inside. And a lot of people can judge me, but I knew I had to stay with my wife and daughter, and ultimately, I know what my mom would have said, and that's the most important. When I lived in Germany, and she went through difficulties when she was in a coma once, I offered to stay by her, and that was before Rosie was even born, my daughter. And she said, "You need to be by your wife. That's your life now." And, we don't always choose our family. Sometimes they're difficult, sometimes they're easier. You gotta love them. You gotta be thankful for the family you have. We do choose our significant other, though. Sometimes we think, God, what am I doing? Sometimes we consider ourselves blessed. We're faced with many decisions in life, and none of them are easy, usually. We're here now in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, and I'm sitting out here getting ready to go for a job interview, so I better keep the tears inside. Just like I had to hold them inside on that fateful Sunday, April 27th, when we drove up to Wisconsin. And just no joke, just as we hit the Wisconsin border, just before, like about 3 minutes before we hit that Wisconsin border, I got the call that my mom had taken her last breath. And I had looked forward to the day I moved to Wisconsin since I was a kid. And 2 minutes before crossing that border, knowing that I'm now a resident and that's going to be my home, I was hit with the most heartbreaking and horrendous news I've had to hear so far in my life. The day that I've dreaded for the past 40, I don't know how old I am, 40 plus years. And now I'm here, and we get here, and there's still tons of sadness in my heart. In fact, it's getting harder each day because there's joy as well in everything that I live and everything that I share. I want to share with my mom. I want to send her pictures of Rosie. I want to tell her, look, wow, what would Grandpa think? I'm here in northern Wisconsin. There's muskie around, and it reminds me of all my times with you and Aunt Barb in Rice Lake, Mom. But you know what? Life is challenging, but it's also beautiful. And I never thought that I would have the strength. Just a few days after my beloved mother passes away, to sit here and tell people that life is beautiful. But you know what? That is exactly what she would want me to say. She struggled and suffered her final months the way no one should have had to suffer. But I know what she had in her, and I know she loved her friends, her family, her life. She was frustrated. But that's why it's that much important that you take care of the ones you love. Be there for the ones you love. And most importantly, yourself. My mom gave everything for me. She did everything for my stepfather. She always put other people first. But in order to love other people, you also have to love yourself. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of your health, mental and physical. Because, as I've said probably 50 times over the past week, you can't fill someone else's glass when your pitcher is empty. My mom filled people's glasses all around. She was an angel. My father left me when I was born. He seen me once and never came back. My mom took over that role. She gave me a wonderful childhood, a wonderful life, and despite the fact that I got a room full of possessions, the thing she gave me most is intangible. The ability to love, the ability to fight, the courage. She was in and out of the hospital and rehab so many times, I thought she was immortal. I always prayed she would be. But our bodies aren't. Our souls are. And don't you ever forget that. My mom's there. I want to send her text messages. I want to send her videos and pictures of Rosie. Send her messages every day like I used to when I lived in Germany. Every day I send my mom a message. Now I can't. I always said my ma, Rosie, and Angela are the three most important things in my life, and 1/3 of that is gone now. And I have to fill it with something else. And instead of filling it with anger and hatred like I did when my grandma passed away, I'm going to fill it with light and love. Because that's what makes life wonderful. That's what makes life worth living. Appreciating every day, appreciating the things we've been given, the people we know. And my mom or any other person that goes from this world, your parents who may have passed away, your aunts, uncles, grandparents, they don't want you to sit around and feel sorry for yourself. They want you to get up and live and appreciate every day you're given and take care of yourselves and the people who love you and the people you love. That's not a hard decision. This past Sunday, I was faced with one of the hardest decisions of my life, but you know what? I did what I think my mom would have wanted. And I know my mom loved me, no matter what. Even though I made tons of bad decisions in my life. But I'll tell you what, the best decision I made, that you can make as well, is to fill your heart with love. That's the best decision for you, for your family, for your friends, and for the world. Thanks for listening. I got a job interview to go to now. I'm going to nail it. I love you guys. Thanks for hearing me out.